Hey, this is Tesla TV, and we're heading to the movie theaters to go see Batman at the Warren Theater here in Moore. And Bub, you got a prediction of like what's going to happen in the movie? What do you think is going to happen?
Well, I predict that the main plot twist of the movie is that the Wayne family is also evil, like the rest of the crime families.
Awesome. Do. All right, so we actually went and saw the Batman twice. So we went and saw the Batman twice, and this is going to be our little review that we're going to do on it. And
no more is the censored man. I now have my serial killer mask.
So now he's got a mask, so he's going to be masking up and doing these videos.
This will be the new look.
Yeah, this will be the new, until a proper mask. So, he's going to wear the mask. He always had the sensor on it, but now you get to kind of see the man behind the sensor, maybe a little bit, maybe not so much. But today we're going to be doing a little review of the Batman movie, and I'm going to go ahead and go kick it off right out the gate. I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was a proper film, and it was super awesome to see Batman on the big screen once again.
Good Batman for the first time in 10 years.
It's been a while. It's been a long time coming. So, I mean, we really enjoyed it. I don't know. There's so many good things I could say. There are some bad things I can say about it.
I have a few issues, but overall, really enjoyed it.
Me too. I really did. I mean, the intro was really good. I love the, some people might not like the monologue over some of the parts, but I really enjoyed the monologue.
I love the monologue.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool.
Batman usually monologues a lot.
Yeah. And let's say this. Okay, so it took a lot of elements from a lot of different movies into this film. I thought they used some elements of like Saw. Yeah, definitely Saw.
There's a lot of Saw parts.
A lot of Saw parts. I thought it was really cool with how they shot it. It reminded me of like Seven and a little bit of Silence of the Lambs. It's really cat and mouse. I loved it. It was a true detective movie. So if you're into the Batman detective side, definitely Batman detective movie. I really enjoyed it.
Finally, a movie that actually includes the part where his name is called The World's Greatest Detective.
Yes. So. And let's say this movie almost, knocked on the door of 3 hours at 2 hours and 55 or 56 minutes.
It's 55 minutes, I think.
So I've seen it listed as 56, but you said it was 55.
I think it's like that extra minute is credits.
Okay.
And then like
that would make
credits,
sense.
It's 55, but I could be wrong.
And then also, I also noticed that it's going to be released on, it says, I've seen it, April 19th, it will be released on HBO Max. So,
but I'd recommend see it in theaters.
See it in the theaters. It was really, really good.
Great watch in theaters.
Oh, definitely a good watch in theaters.
I can't even say how much I like it because I'm a massive Batman fan. I've always been.
Oh yeah.
And I've been very disappointed with Batman media relatively recently. For the past 5 to 6-ish years.
I enjoy seeing Batman on screen, so I actually go and see them. But you're right, there hasn't been a really solid Batman movie in a long time.
In general, Batman represented in movies has been awful because Ben Affleck Batman, I love the idea for him, but his execution was
it was lacking. The suit was really cool.
Yeah, I love that suit.
The suit was awesome.
But it's like his movies are sadly kind of poo-poo, and
they do. They don't have a really good script on them,
and there hasn't been any like video games that he's appeared in in like a while. So it's like it's nice to see Batman, a really good new version of Batman, appear now.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I can honestly say that. That's one thing about, like, you're talking about, like, video games. It uses a lot of aspects of, like, the video games.
Yeah, it combines a lot of
comic books
parts from Batman. Because, like, there's some stuff that's directly lifted from stuff like Batman Year One and Long Halloween. Stuff inspired by the Telltale Batman video games. The action in general is similar to the Arkham video games. A little less so than BVS, but it gets there. Like, the action's really good.
I think this film, if you're not a Batman fan and you want to want to enjoy a good movie, this is a really good mystery movie. You might get lost in some of the names thrown out there if you don't understand some of the comics a little bit, but if you watch the movie based on what the storyline is, it's there. It's not lacking at all.
It's one of the superhero movies where it transcends the label of superhero movie, and it's just a good movie.
I think it was really well written. I think the cinematography was excellent.
Oh yeah, a lot of the shots are really amazing. You know? And the set design as well is beautiful because it gives Gotham character and how run down and grimy and old it looks.
And the script was amazing. I thought the script was really good. So not only the writing, so there's a difference between the writing and the actual script that their actual dialogue is. And so the writing and the way they set up everything for the scenes was really good. And then the script to go along with that was amazing. I thought it was a really good film. And let's talk about the actor choices. The actor choices were awesome.
Yeah, flashback 2 years ago, or it might have been 3 years. God, for how long?
When they announced it, right?
When the cast was just being announced. So like Jeffrey Wright, Zoe Kravitz, Robert Pattinson. When that was coming out, I was kind of like, really, these people?
When I heard Robert Pattinson,
or Colin Farrell, whenever all those people were announced, I was like, really, these people?
I thought the same thing.
Flash forward to the first trailer coming out, and I'm like, oh, I can see it.
Yeah.
It's like, Robert Pattinson Batman is great. I never thought I would say Robert Pattinson, the guy known for Twilight, is an amazing Batman. And I don't think he's my number one. I still really like Bale. But he very easily could become number one in future appearances. Like, he is very good.
And so when I saw it too, as well, whenever you're talking about Robert Pattinson, I was like, I'm not sure about this, man. I don't know. Let's give it a benefit of a doubt. Wait till it comes out, the trailer comes out, and see. Zoe Kravitz, I was kind of like, okay, yeah, I can kind of see that. Jeffrey Wright, sometimes, agendas get pushed in movies and stuff. And this movie was so well written in how they try to, it seems like they try to push things sometimes. This one, you forget about everything because it was so well written. There was no forcing of like agendas or anything like that. So it was really good to see that in a movie.
And it's like Jeffrey Wright, he's a standout. I really enjoyed him as Commissioner Gordon.
Oh, he was really good.
I don't think any of the new the new actors overtake the Nolan actors, but they get very close to it. And I think if they're given future appearances, I think they could at least.
I think so too.
I think they could easily do it because this movie lays down a very great foundation for future Batman appearances. And it's just by itself a really good Batman movie and a really good movie.
Since this movie is like the beginning movie of this series,
trilogy, at least.
Of this trilogy that we know about, I was debating with Bub. I said, hey, take this and compare that with Batman Begins. I actually think this movie is better than Batman Begins. Yeah, I think I like it more than Batman Begins.
Yeah. Because I like Batman Begins.
I do
but there's stuff in it that I'm like, that's all right,
Yeah.
But in this one, it's like, I really like it. I have to say, it only took 33 years and at least like 6 versions of Batman, but there's finally a live action Batman who, without a doubt, isn't a killer.
Exactly.
And it's like, I don't know why it took this long, because the Nolan movies I love, but there's the issue of like, in the Nolan movies, he at least kills one person. And in the Nolan movies, at most killed 4 to 5 people, and that's my problem. It's like, I don't like killer Batman because it kind of destroys the character. When this movie, there isn't a single time where someone dies and it's Batman who did it, and or Batman like
meant to do it. Yeah,
like there's a few times where people, like criminals, do die like at the end, but it's because they're like shooting at him and he's just dodging, and someone else happens to like be running up against him as well.
Yeah. So before we get too thick into like, some of those parts,
I'm trying to talk vague.
Yeah. So, do you want to go ahead and give us,
my score,
what your score is? And so we're going to give you the score. And then after we do the score, we'll tell you, we're going to go into some spoilers. So right about now, we're looking at about 8 minutes into this, 8 minutes and 25 seconds right now. So what we're going to do is here in a little bit, we're going to give you our rating. And then as soon as we start getting the spoilers, we're going to put the spoilers, give you a little alarm, tell you spoilers are coming. So go ahead and give it your what rating you get it.
I don't know if many people watch or care enough about this or care about my metric of reviewing.
Oh, there's people. Hey, I know there's some people out there right now that are gonna watch this video and they're gonna say, I wonder what Bub says about it. Trust me, people on Facebook have hit me up and Instagram asking me what you thought about it.
I wouldn't know because I don't pay attention.
I know you don't, so that's what I'm telling you. There are people that
I would say 8 out of 10 with, what is it, a Jawa seal of approval?
8 out of 10, Jawa seal of approval. His highest rating yet so far. I think the highest one you've ever...
Suicide Squad.
You gave it like a 5, right? Or 6?
No, the Suicide Squad, I gave it 8. I love that movie.
Oh, okay. I don't know if you gave it that high. This is pretty high, though. This is... Yeah.
I mean, I'm probably a little biased because I just love Batman.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's great. There's only like a few small issues with it, compared to like every other Batman movie where there's at least like one flaw that I'm like, you really didn't have to do that. With this one, I'm like, oh, you could have just slightly shortened that part or slightly could have gotten a different take on that part. But it's nothing that I'm like, that was a big glaring thing.
I don't remember what I gave Ghostbusters Afterlife. So I'm going to have to say this one's probably, I'm going to say about in your range too. I ranked Ghostbusters Afterlife pretty high because I really enjoyed that film because they did it right. They closed out a good storyline. So I'm going to say with this one, I'm going to say 8 or 8.5 Tuscans with the Jawa seal of approval, easy, because it was just so good. So good and so well written. I just loved it. And surprisingly, I didn't have to go to the bathroom one time.
Yeah. Also, one thing I'll say, for a nearly 3-hour long movie, there wasn't a single time where I was bored.
Yes. And I'll say the same thing. And we saw it 2 times.
Yeah, and twice I was never bored.
Yeah, and this today, which is a Sunday, we saw it this afternoon. And once you see it a second time, you kind of remember where parts are, and it actually seemed shorter to me. I thought it was great. So now, spoiler alert right here, spoilers. There's
only really
right
like
here.
3 spoilers, but still.
So we're gonna go into it, and let's go ahead and get into some of the scenes that you liked and enjoyed, and go ahead and kick it off.
Okay, I guess one of the things I like about the movie that I was interested in, I knew going in that the Waynes would be revealed as like evil, because a lot of the trailer material like heavily suggested it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I was kind of iffy on that because the Telltale Batman games did something very similar where the Waynes worked with Carmine Falcone, and it's Falcone. That's one thing I don't like about the movie. They changed the name for some reason.
Yeah, they call him Falcone, and then Maroni.
Yeah, they changed it. I guess I don't know
because I think they changed it because people might get confused. Falcone and Maroni.
I think they changed it for Riddler's.
That would make sense too.
Answer to make some more sense.
Yeah.
But I was worried how they would do that because one of the things with Batman that's fundamental is that the Waynes were a beacon of hope. And the reason why their death has a lot of impact is because that's like one of the last few good things and got them dying.
Yeah, and so they kind of tainted it.
But in the Telltale games, they made it where the Waynes are just legitimately evil. And that kind of like, oh, you're kind of missing the point. But in this one, they're not fully evil, but they're not pure either. They're like a in between.
Yeah.
So I like how it's like, and also they still keep it a mystery on who exactly killed the Waynes. Because Carmine says it's the Maronis. Alfred says it was probably Carmine, but then Alfred also says it could have been just a random person.
So you don't even know. So even at the end of it, you don't know.
So like that's another thing that's important. You shouldn't really give a name to who killed the Waynes, because all that matters is that it's crime in general that
just
killed
leave
them.
it vague. Yeah, that's all.
So
you
I like
know.
how in the movie it points the different directions, but doesn't give a solid answer to who killed them.
Yeah, I thought that was. I mean, because even I went back and watched it again. I was like, did they say Falcone the first time? Or was it in Maroni, or was it like Falcone? So once watching it the second time, it's like, oh, okay, they did it this way instead of that way.
And also I had to say Riddler was really freaky, and I liked him. He was
freaky. His smile, he freaks me out a little bit, man.
Paul Dano.
Yeah,
Dano?
like when he smiled when he gets his head slammed into the diner, the actual countertop, he freaks me out. Like his glasses break. What's cool about that scene is whenever that happens, he gets his head slammed and it cuts his eye right here, and so like that's what you notice, and it breaks his glasses, and you get to see that out throughout the end of that movie.
Yeah, so like he was really good. A lot of his death traps were neat, like that rat torture device.
Yeah, the rat trap,
the bomb neck.
Yeah, the bomb neck, dude. The bomb neck with the puzzle on it, that was pretty cool. So very, very Saw, very, very Jigsaw. So I mean, that part was pretty neat, though. I thought that was really, really cool how they did all the mazes and stuff like that, and then like how he left him cards and stuff. That was pretty cool.
I really like this adaptation of the Riddler, because the Riddler is he's a weird case for a Batman villain. He's not big enough to where he has like a definitive version, but he's not minor enough to where people won't be bothered by heavily changing him.
Yeah.
He's like kind of stuck there. But this movie does radically change a lot of him. Like just the design and his general purpose. But it still keeps that aspects of Riddler that are important, like the superiority complex.
Yeah.
And his like thrive for revenge against people that wronged him. And the general him loving and enjoying puzzles and then forcing people to solve them or they die.
Yeah.
So I like how they really changed Riddler, but they still kept the aspects that make the character the same, and they really made him like this really cool serial killer type of villain.
I like how they show different sides of him. So you get the serial killer side on his camera, and then you also see it to his followers.
Yeah, his vlogger side.
He gets like a vlogger side, so it was cool. And you get to see him also very vulnerable when he's in Arkham Asylum. So that was pretty cool to see all of that. What did you think about Zoe Kravitz?
I really liked her.
Catwoman. So did I. I really did.
I don't know her from anything.
I've seen her in a couple movies.
I had no real metric. I was just kind of like, oh, you're getting this person,
and that's, you'd be honest with you, that's kind of good that you don't know who that person is, because you go in with the fresh thinking in mind when you're watching the film. So,
but yeah, I really liked her. One thing I like is that they took her Batman Year One outfit and they used it at the end when she's trying to kill Carmine.
Oh yeah,
so I like how
it's very cool.
They directly adapt parts from Batman stories, or like the story of Carmine being operated by Thomas Wayne. That's from Batman: The Long Halloween. So I like how they incorporate classic Batman elements into the movie.
Yeah, it's very cool. And like Robert Pattinson as Batman, he really did a really good job. Even though he didn't get really super buff for this movie, which I think he even says he didn't, he hardly ever worked out for it. They said he only took sips of water. He counted the sips of water to get that look. So like he drank hardly any water. Yeah, I know. To not put on water weight, but he was a really cool Batman. His whole, I'm going to say, the design of the armor and the outfit and being able to move in his outfit, including his breakaway. It wasn't a batarang. It was more, I don't know.
It's a knife, basically.
Yeah, like utility batarang maybe. That was really cool. His acting was really good. I really enjoyed it.
He's very emotive with his eyes.
Yeah, he is.
And I like how he doesn't talk a lot.
Yeah, he's pretty much like Mom would say, he's kind of emo. but not emo. It was really cool. There's a lot of, the way they shot the movie was really, really neat, really gritty. It had a really good, like, you felt like you were there. Like if you've ever seen like those, when it's raining outside and you have that effect of like just the grittiness in the dirt. It was pretty cool to see.
And also one thing I'll say is that I really like the sound design for Batman. So like every time Batman takes a step, it has like this very heavy sound. So it really gives him a lot of weight.
And
there's parts like whenever he's walking up and it's like you just hear the clunk of his boots as he's about to go and like beat up an entire gang of people.
And it's like he wanted to sound that way. And what's funny about it, and I said this too, I didn't mention it earlier, but we talked about it in the car, was it's very, very, like some of the shots were like spaghetti Western. And if you know what I'm talking about, like the when they have shootouts, they would shoot from behind Robert Pattinson. He's walking up and you'd hear his boots and he'd sound like, they would have in the old Westerns, like the Spurs, but you would hear like almost like his weapons and whatever he had. It was like, every time he walked, and the heaviness of it. And that was very reminiscent of like old spaghetti Westerns and how they were shot. Like the first scene reminds me of a showdown of a Western when he goes and fights those dudes that have the paint on their face.
Yeah.
That was really, really cool.
Anyways, done with the positives. Now we're going to hate it now.
Wait, hold on. Before you go there. So you had Andy Serkis.
Oh yeah, Andy Serkis was good.
As
very minor
Alfred,
role as Alfred, but a really good role as Alfred.
Yep. And so you had and then you had Jeffrey Wright as Lieutenant Gordon.
Really
amazing,
good.
Really, really good. I loved his mannerisms in that movie, and I liked the way his facial expressions, like when he's talking to him in a jail scene, like when he's like, "Come on, dude, about he's like, get out of here."
He has like this stern face. Yeah, he's like, "Punch me in the face."
Yeah, so when I love that scene. That's one of my favorite scenes.
And also, one thing I like is that Batman sort of has a sense of humor in the movie
without being cartoony.
Yeah, he's not like Marvel, where Marvel they'll shatter every part of their character for them to have a crappy joke. But this one's just the way that Batman reacts to something or will say something is kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like how early in the movie, one of Penguin's goons says like, "Oh, get out of here before you get like blood on your suit or whatever."
Yeah.
And he just replies with, "You mean yours?"
Yeah,
or whatever.
You mean yours,
and then he just punches him and starts running away.
It's not cartoony at all.
It fits Batman's character where he's just kind of sarcastic a few times. And I think that's neat. Because the one thing that's part of Batman is that Batman will sometimes say a joke, but it's less of a joke and more just him being socially
awkward.
Kind of awkward, but more of just like him replying in a very like no crap way.
Yeah.
Replying in a taunting way. So I like how it kind of kept that.
He has his sarcasm come through pretty heavily. Not just with his words, but through his actions, like his eyes. Like his eye movements when he's looking at people, you can tell.
Whenever a cop annoys him, he just gives him a side eye.
And that's another thing. The cop in there, whenever he's talking to him, it's funny because there's scenes in it where the cop's like, "Oh, this freak here," but when he's Bruce Wayne, he's like, "Hey, Bruce Wayne."
Yeah.
So he's like, he doesn't know.
None of the characters like respect Batman
at all
the way that they respect Bruce Wayne. So I think it's funny that Batman has to like punch a guy in order to get to the Iceberg Lounge, and then like Bruce Wayne shows up and like, hey, it's Bruce Wayne, come on in.
Yeah, and it's like, here, opens the door, like, yeah, you can go see him. Of course you can go see him.
But
yeah, I thought that part was kind of cool. So you had Robert Pattinson, you had Jeffrey Wright, you had Zoe Kravitz, which she was awesome. You also had who else did you have?
Paul Dano.
Paul Dano's Riddler. And then you had Colin Farrell as the Penguin.
And
which he was really good too, by the way.
Surprised me. I have no idea how to pronounce his name, but Carmine Falcone's actor.
Oh, I think it's John Turturro.
Yeah.
So John Turturro was awesome. And I was telling you, when I first saw him, whenever I was younger, I think it was a movie, it was like in 1992 or 1993. It was my first movie ever seeing him in. It's a comedy called Brain Donors. And it's styled after like Three Stooges and the Marx Brothers. And I love that movie. And ever since that movie came out, I loved him because he had so much weird range in this movie. He was like, it was weird. It's a totally weird movie. So if you guys haven't seen Brain Donors from John Turturro, go and watch that movie. He's really good in that. So whenever they announced he's going to be Carmine, I said, man, this is going to be cool because he has a wide range of it. And he's also in Big Lebowski. He's also in Transformers.
Yeah.
So
whenever they announced him, I was like, the Transformers guy? Because I've only ever seen him in the Transformers movies. So I was interested in, like, I've never seen him in another role.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed him as Carmine.
Yeah.
He did a really good job.
He did a really good job. As a crazy,
this
like,
truly despicable mobster
mafia
who, like, strangles people to death.
He has no doubt about. I mean, he's a very dangerous person, and you recognize him as soon as he walks in. His first scene, you can tell this is a dangerous man.
Yeah, this is a guy you're not gonna want to mess with.
Yeah, it was really cool. He really carried that persona of that character throughout the movie. Who else was in this movie that you can think of? And then of course you had the unnamed Arkham Asylum
unnamed
prisoner.
Arkham prisoner who everyone knows as Joker.
We know it's
played
Joker.
by Barry Cogenhagen. I've only seen him in two things, and that's Dunkirk and Eternals. One of them I don't remember, and the other one I was like mostly sick while watching it. So,
okay, let's clarify that. Dunkirk is the one that he was mostly sick through.
I'm not going to tell that story, but all you have to know is that it was a fever dream. So I don't remember much of that movie. I'm excited to see what he'll be like in future movies.
And if Matt Reeves stays involved in the project, it'll be good.
Like, I'm still kind of like iffy on him, but I'm also like, well, Matt Reeves also made Robert Pattinson my second favorite Batman, so just give him the time in the proper spotlight, and he'll probably be really good.
And then I'm hoping, like with the next two, that it'll elevate this particular Batman and Matt Reeves into a whole different league. And I think if he does better with the other two, it'll probably be the best Batman.
And there's also
ever.
the spin-off shows. He's doing
because
he's doing a Catwoman show. Something related with Penguin, and then a Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I just saw that.
I wouldn't be surprised if Joker makes his first full appearance in Arkham Asylum.
So those are all the positives. We had the cinematography, we had the writing, we had the actors, we had the actresses, everything, the director, script, all of it great that we thought were great. So now let's go.
Anyway, it's time for my favorite part. I hate it. And this is dumb and stupid.
Let's go to that part where we talk some noise on it.
There's a few things that are kind of like, you could have gotten a better take for that. Or there's some like kind of like, it's not as good as it could have been.
Okay.
And there's
I want to hear this. I want to hear what you got to say. I have something I want to say too.
Whenever Batman like cuts the generator off, they could have done that in a better way.
Okay.
Because it's a little like, it's kind of goofy when it happens.
Okay. So there's a scene where it's like a electrical sign, or like there's like a power strip on top of the arena that comes down. So if you've gotten this far, you've seen it. So clarify what you're talking about.
When Batman gets onto the rope and it has like this very dramatic him removing the symbol and cutting the rope or the wire, it's like that could have been executed better.
And so what did you think was weird about it?
It was just like his facial expression, and then like the music cuts off and it's like this very dramatic, it's like brought as like a dramatic moment, but what's happening is kind of not dramatic.
Yeah,
so it's
I can kind of see
an anticlimactic way to end the final battle.
Yeah, and Mom was saying like, why didn't he just cut it above why didn't he just cut below him? And I was like, well, he would have been electrocuted because that's where all the electricity is coming from. So he had to cut it from the top, and he does have a look of like an oh shoot, like you know what I mean, like that kind of look. But it doesn't look right. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
It's a little goofy.
I mean, a little screwy.
I'm fine with a little bit of goofiness with Batman because every serious Batman has had something that's a little goofy looking.
Now, was it like after that when he comes down and they all go out?
No, it's him cutting it.
Cutting, okay,
is just a little off. But another thing is the third act could have been better.
And your third act, you were talking about which point on?
Whenever the Riddler people are shooting, the stadium or whatever, not stadium, the center. I think that could have been a bit better. I feel like it probably should have been like a bomb Riddler planted. Because throughout the entire thing, Riddler is very much like, do it quick and try to maximize the death. So it's kind of like, why would Riddler be like, all right, 50 people, get your guns and slowly pick off the entirety of like 100 people? Like, it makes more sense if Riddler's like, all right, my goons, take this bomb, put it here, and then defend it from Batman.
I can see some of that, and then on the other side of it, I'm thinking to him, since he thought he might have more than that come with him, because if you watch, he has like 500 something subscribers on his little channel. But I think in his mind, he's hoping that all of them join in, and so what happens is his plan kind of falls apart. And not that many, you know what I mean? Not that many people show up as what he thought. I think that's what the whole point is.
Well, I'm just saying, like, it could have been executed a little bit better because it needed it needed a bit of like a ticking time bomb part.
Something.
Because it's like, even with the amount of like armaments and the amount of like Riddler people that were there's no way that was going to work. Yeah. You know, like there's no way they're going to get rid of everyone.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. I think he thought probably there was going to be more people, but I can hear what you're saying. Riddler, you should have had like some...
Riddler is characterized very much as like being ingenuitive and being like... He uses explosives a lot in the movie. So it's like, it should have been like more he had this bomb that's like, all right, my subscribers go and blow this place up.
Yeah.
So I think that would have been slightly better. But the only other thing that I'm thinking of right now that was kind of like, it's not a criticism. This isn't a criticism. This is just kind of like, it would have been nice if you included that, was the Superman reference.
Oh, yeah, you did mention
there was on one of the sets for the movie, like it was like a Halloween party or whatever, and one of the people was dressed up as Superman, and like it got cut or it wasn't like included, but it was like, it would have been nice, you know.
Ted seen that in it.
That's the only other thing that I can really think of that I didn't like about the movie.
So the only thing you think that's it for you?
From what I'm remembering, that's all I can really remember as like standout things are like that could have been better or that would have been nice to include. But even then, the Superman one isn't a criticism. It's just, that would have been nice.
The only thing I could think of, there was a couple parts that I wasn't a fan of the first time I watched it. And the second time I was like, okay, it's not that long. And one of them was the ending scene with the Catwoman. So there's a lot, you know, you got, if you're into this part or if you've seen the movie, awesome. If you haven't seen the movie, why are you listening to this part?
Yeah, what are you doing here?
Yeah, watch it first. But the motorcycle scene seems a little too long because like they're talking, and I didn't notice this the first time. She's got a cat with her, and she's petting the cat, and then she puts it inside of a compartment in her motorcycle. Did you notice that? I thought that. Yeah, I saw that.
I saw that the first time.
I didn't see it the first time. The second time I did. But so that scene, they're talking. You think it's going to be done. Like, okay, that's it. They're going to drive off. It's cool. But they don't. They get on the motorcycles and they drive down the trail. So they're driving down the cemetery and the graveyard. You see them driving, and so you think, okay, they're gonna go one, and then they turn. And like, okay, that's cool. They're gonna turn. Yeah, and then they turn again.
I will admit, it is like you could have cut at least 2 of those turns.
Yeah, and so they do that, and then they get to the exit, and then they sit there, and he kind of looks at her, she looks at him, and they kind of drive off. That scene was a little bit too long. I think they could have put the cat inside the compartment, said, okay, we're saying goodbye, and then shows exit, and they split off. Or at least show like one going down and then the exit and split off. That would have made a lot more sense to me. That whole driving down was weird, but that is one of the first scenes they shot for the film.
Yeah, it's ironic. The ending of the movie is like one of the very first things that it's known that they shot.
So I think he probably had a vision for that to be like more impactful. I think, and to me it just seems a little too long. You know, it's like, okay, that could have been edited down. It would have made a lot more sense, but. And there's a couple times I thought was weird. I thought the song Something in the Way was played out way too long at the starting of it. That kind of bothers me. I have a problem with a full song being used, and it kind of bothered me. I think it could have been shortened down. But I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to show him driving off and him doing his overdub monologue, talking over it. But to me, I think it could have been shortened down somewhat. not a whole bunch, but just a little bit. Like a little bit of the editing could have been done a little better.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really think there's anything else I thought was like, I thought the editing, for the most part, the editing was like great.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't be surprised if they get nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say it right now.
I do, however, want to see what the 4-hour version of the movie was.
If there's a 4-hour version of the movie, I'm definitely not watching.
Matt Reeves said that he had a 4-hour version that he knew he wasn't going to release, but he was like, I do have a 4-hour version. So I'm interested, what is the entire other hour of movie? I
do like how they have very much like the drip heads. So there's
I like that, where it's like the movie doesn't outright say like, oh, this is the type of drug we have in this universe. It's just like the characters treat it like everyone else treats, like, oh, we have this thing.
Yeah, he's the drip heads, and like it's really cool because I thought I saw something else in my mind in that one scene where it was the drip head symbol.
Yeah, the anti.
I thought it was logo. Like a DC reference of like Justice League, and it's the only, if you go watch the movie, that's like the only bright thing that's kind of shown in the movie.
It's white and red, and it's in green. Brief. I don't think it's green.
Yeah, because it's got the drip head.
Oh yeah.
So the same mask that's in the front at the starting of the movie is what is used as the no drip head. So that was kind of cool. So it's funny because like the first scene, one of the first scenes, the robbery, the guy's wearing a drip head mask when he robs the place.
Yeah, I really like the atmosphere and the world it kind of creates through. Yeah. Like you see a bunch of like anti-drip head posters, and like everywhere in the movie there is advertisements for the mayor election.
Yeah.
So I like how throughout the movie there's like this reoccurring imagery of stuff that's going on.
And I love the part of the storyline where he saw himself in the kid.
Yeah.
Of the mayor.
Right, that's what motivates him.
Yeah, that's what motivates him. And I think it's neat how he goes back, he starts to not regret, but understand that his point of thinking of vengeance started everything else.
Like a proper storyline where he's like, maybe the whole revenge thing is probably bad.
Like maybe that's what the problem with this world is vengeance.
But
now they did do a scene that I thought was really, really good, and they never clarified it with like any other Batmans really. When Lieutenant Gordon pulls out his gun and he's like, you hear him cock it.
Yeah. And Batman's like, no guns.
Yeah. And he was like, well, this is me. This is basically me. I need one. You don't. But
not everyone could afford nearly bulletproof armor.
Yeah. And so like,
which that's another thing that kind of annoyed me. I don't like Batman like being too armor-y. Mm-hmm. And one thing that was a little annoying is like, Batman's bulletproof armor gets to a point where it's like he's taking like submachine gun rounds.
Yeah, he took a shotgun blast to the chest.
Yeah. So I would say I think the movie's trying to communicate that his armor is resistant but not perfect.
Yeah.
But there's some parts where it's like he should have a lot more damage than
but it is cool though, like when you show him at the end, he does have like huge, like massive bullet hole. Like whenever he goes in that fight scene, you could tell he's actually hurt. But they don't say how far he is hurt.
But I would say the movie probably should include more indicators of just like how like, or there should have been a scene saying like the armor absorbs a lot of it, but he takes a lot of like physical bruising.
I think they kind of just show you that like when he's got his shirt off.
It should have clarified it a bit more, because it's kind of like, okay, Batman shouldn't take a shotgun to the chest and still be able to like live.
Yeah.
So that's one thing is like I don't really like armory Batman.
I think he was like pretty blasted up pretty good, and he hits himself with assuming it's adrenaline.
Yeah, because it's like you hear his heart beat faster, and he I will say this on a Riddler guy.
Yeah, I enjoyed the enraged Batman.
Yeah,
when he gets enraged.
Whenever he's fighting, there's definitely a lot of fury in it, because like in the first fight scene where he just like tears that guy apart, where he breaks his arm and then like continues to pummel him into the ground.
That part, what's funny is that part, and it's so funny because it reminds me of Mr. Furious from the Mystery Men. It was Ben Stiller, and he's like his superpower. It's getting off track here. His superpower is fury, enraged fury, and that's what it reminded me of. And except for Ben Stiller's Mr. Fury has no power. I mean, he doesn't have a real power. He just gets really mad. But it was really cool to see that.
Yeah, it's like I really liked how he uses the grapple gun when he's fighting.
Oh,
like
man.
He grapples through like a few people's legs.
Pulls them down. I'm gonna say this. I think one of my favorite Batman scenes ever was from this movie, and that was when he's in the jail, when he gets in the hallway, he shoots up and he goes grappling through the whole building. And then there's
all the people shooting at him.
Oh man, I was like,
that's a really cool thing. Is like I always like it when there's like Batman fighting or running away from police segments. Like Dark Knight Returns, where he's like trying to avoid the SWAT
team. At the end of the movie.
Or The Dark Knight, where he's also trying to like not hurt the SWAT, but also keep them from killing people.
Yeah. This one, I like. This one was really cool.
Like running away from the police, and he grapples up and then glides away.
I think the way that one was shot, they could have just showed it just going up and shooting, but they shot it from him going up and then looking down as he's going up.
And then there's like all the gunfire around it.
Yeah, and you see everybody's like running after him. They played it up where he's very like, humanized, right? So he's really humanized.
Yeah, he takes a lot of crap in this movie.
Yeah, he really does.
As well as like some of his tech isn't as like advanced. Or it's like, it's weird. Like his gliding is terrible, but he has like video camera eye contacts.
I think it like, might be like because he's just starting into it.
Yeah, so I think it's funny. It's like he has like some really advanced stuff, and then other stuff is like the grapple gun. Is like attached to like the arm or his arm or whatever. So he has to like pull it out and then use it.
I think that part is cool because he never has to take it off here. It's always like
I like how it's like he just extends his arm.
Yeah. That part was really cool. I think the crest and the bat crest is really cool.
The batarang or whatever.
There's some really cool lines in that movie too that I liked as well. But go ahead, finish what you're saying.
I really want to know what's with the needles on his gauntlets.
That's what I was gonna say too. I was like, what did he use them for?
When they first revealed the outfit, I was like thinking like there's probably like a use for the needles, but in the movie he doesn't use them. So I'm wondering what's the point of those.
I'm thinking maybe it's like he uses them for. I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised
like an armor
if there's a deleted scene of him using it, because there was a rumor that the needles dispense smoke. Because in the movie he doesn't have smoke bombs, so I wouldn't be surprised if there was something that got cut.
Well, he kind of does use a smoke. Grenade, the detonator.
No, he puts a grenade on a smoke canister.
Oh, that's what it is.
So like,
got you.
I was thinking like I wouldn't be surprised if maybe that's the purpose, because they look kind of like hoses. Because there's like I think there's holes in them, so I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they're like smoke dispensers or something.
Yeah, they almost look like armor gauntlets with spikes on them, but they really don't explain much.
I was really wondering like what's with those, because they just kind of look weird.
Yeah, I like his cowl though. Like the cowl was really cool.
I like that he has the collar around the cape.
Yeah, and the thing that you're talking about, like one of his techs that was kind of weird was when he turns into the Flying Squirrel.
The Flying Squirrel.
Which it kind of does. Yeah, I mean, I know what it is. Squirrel. I mean,
it's the gliding suit, but it's very Transformers Dark of the Moon.
Yeah, it has that kind of vibe on it. But it actually looks kind of neat because at least it's not like gliding his. It's not gliding cape. You know what I mean? Doesn't look.
I like corny. That. I like the gliding cape, but a lot of times, like you can't really. That doesn't work.
This one makes sense because it basically becomes, and then once he hits the ground, it basically rips off, and it's just his utility suit underneath it, which was kind of cool. And they do show him like he gets hurt. I'm gonna tell you right now, though, whoever designed that Batmobile.
Oh yeah, I love
top notch, man. That thing was freaking rad.
The Batmobile was one of the first things that got me warmed up to this movie. Because the car that's like the base of it, I really like that car. And I know nothing about cars, but I really like that car's look.
And I believe it's a Dodge Charger.
Yeah, it's a Dodge. So I like how it's like a modified version of that. And I like how it's like this invincible vehicle that can just ram through anything. And it'll go like it has like a jet engine in the back.
Yeah, that thing was... I loved how they show him working on him at starting.
One thing that's impressive, that scene with the Batmobile, like with it having the blue fire... spark out and it driving, that's practical.
Yeah, and it looks great.
It's like that easily could have been just CGI, but no, they made a practical Batmobile that could like has a jet engine that shoots out blue flames and it goes stupid fast.
I loved it. And I'm gonna tell you right now, whenever he fired up the engine, I got goosebumps because you hear it.
Him intimidating them with the Batmobile.
It kicks on, you hear those cams hit, you're like, whoa.
And I like how the glowing red
underneath the hood. That part was really cool. That part was really, really cool. I
just love the sound of it starting up.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I know.
Like it sounds like, oh, that's gonna mess you up if you get hit.
That is a real car.
He hits a Penguin's car, and Penguin's car just goes flying. It starts crashing. And it's just, I love that.
There's so many aspects of this movie that I totally enjoyed, and that was just one of the many.
I could gush forever on like just what I love about it.
It was really good. I love. There's one scene with the Penguin, and they're interrogating him. And I love the line. He says, "What are you, good cop and batshit cop?" I love that part.
Or he's like, "What are you, the world's greatest detectives? You don't know Spanish?
Yeah,
you don't know
no Espanol."
It's like, am I the only one that knows the difference between le and la?
Yeah, that part was funny. Man, like just the script between all of them is pretty awesome, man. I enjoyed that whole thing. One of the first lines in the movie I thought was really, really good when he was describing himself. He was like, "Some think I'm hiding in the shadows, but I am the shadow." I love that line. I really do. That was one of the coolest lines in the movie.
It says like 2 years of fighting crime has turned me into a nocturnal creature.
Yeah, and he's writing it down in his journal. And so when you go to the next scene after that fight scene, he's actually writing all that stuff in his journal. It's really cool. They did a really good job with everything on that movie. I don't know. You got anything else you want to talk about that movie in general?
Really good.
Really
also,
good.
one detail I like is that Batman's house in this movie is Wayne Tower.
Yeah,
but one thing I didn't catch the first time, the orphanage is actually Wayne Manor.
Yes.
Because they said it was the manor from the Wayne estate that they donated. So I like how it's like, yeah, he lives in Wayne Tower in this universe, but there's a reference to Wayne Manor. So I think that's like, oh, the Wayne Manor was something they used to have, but now it's like all old and run down, and now they live in Wayne Tower.
And I love how it's like ran over by like drop heads. It's all these old drop heads that are living in there, and one of my best scenes, and I love it. And this Riddler was awesome, and I just love it when he's in the prison. He's like, Bruce Wayne. And you think, holy
I like
crap.
That scene where it's like they imply he knows, but then it's kind of like later it's like, oh, I guess he didn't figure it out.
Yeah, but
they still keep it
very
I think they
mysterious.
Keep it vague enough to where they could reveal he did know.
Yeah.
Because it could just be like, oh, he was messing with them.
Yeah, it's so cool. And if you look at it like Robert Pattinson, you can see he's got a tear coming in his eye and starts going down his eye. Like you can see it, like he's so scared. Like in that moment, he is scared.
Yeah,
and you can see this tear build up in his eye. It's so cool.
And then he gets like angry when he's like, "What have you done?"
And then he realizes, like, "Oh, okay. Dude, you don't know who I am."
Yeah.
Oh man, that was so cool. Just the whole Riddler aspect of
he was really good.
Puzzle pieces. And at the end of the movie, by the time you're watching, you're thinking, "Okay, what's this for? What's that for?" I didn't even realize the first weapon he used to kill that one guy, I would have never thought that was going to be part of another puzzle. So it was actually really cool. I mean,
his confession. Yeah, and then it's used to solve his final riddle.
It's so good. I enjoyed it.
Also, one thing that's nice is that Riddler is alive by the end of this movie.
Yeah, he's not dead.
So that means that Batman could potentially build up a rogues gallery. Because one thing that's always sucked with live action Batman, the villains always die, except like I think 3 or 4. So it's nice that it's like maybe this Batman could get a proper group of villains.
And yeah. And I like how the Batcave in this movie too was in the Wayne Tower.
And it's like a subway. It's an abandoned subway.
Yeah, it was really cool. That was really I just thought the whole movie was really cool.
It changes a lot with Batman, but it still keeps the core elements the same.
And I think
so it's like a very faithful adaptation even with all those changes.
And even though it's a different type of Batman, it plays very hardcore on modern updated Batman stories. Am I right? I mean, it really plays on like some of the modernized stories, including like the comic stuff.
Yeah,
and not comics, but comics, of course.
It has a lot,
but the
Batman
video game
stuff. In it.
Yeah. So it's like it's
a combination of different parts that turn into a really good Batman.
And I think the biggest part about the movie, even though it's a superhero movie and it's based off of a comic book, it doesn't feel like it. And that's what I'm walking away with it.
That's one thing. This movie. One thing I just resent about a lot of superhero movies is that even though like people will accept like kind of goofy parts of superheroes, Marvel is very guilty of this. Marvel will be like, oh, there's this character's comic name, but they'll turn it into a joke. Like when Spider-Man, they're like, oh, this guy's name is Octavius or whatever. Or like Ant-Man, where they always make fun of the name Ant-Man.
Yeah,
I hate that. So it's like with this movie, Penguin is just called the Penguin, and it's kept seriously. Yeah, it doesn't break the tone of like, oh, this guy's the Penguin. It's like, no, it's just that's his name.
Like that's just his name.
It's not afraid to have Penguin wear purple.
Oh yeah.
Like he wears bright purple in scenes.
Yeah, you just can't really see it because
and he
it's so
carries the umbrella in a few scenes. So it's like it's not afraid to be like, no, this is just the character, Or like how the bat signal in this movie, it's yellow with the logo. Yeah. Like every Batman movie has had like, oh, it's just a regular floodlight and it's white. But in this one, like, no, it's the proper yellow bat signal. Like how they kept that consistent with the floodlights and the helicopters also being yellow.
I just love the whole storyline, how everything was like so corrupt, and it was like that's one thing that I always thought was kind of weird with some of the past Batman movies. Like, you know, the police were always like the good guys majority of the times. There was like, you know, you might have a couple of bad guys, but here it was like
a lot of Batman movies, they do like, oh, Gotham City is corrupt, but they never really go beyond surface level.
Yeah, so like
this one goes like very deep into like Riddler is killing all of the people, and it very clearly establishes that a lot of the police are not actually police.
Everybody from the police are like in on it, and it's the hierarchy of the people who own the city are in on it. So it's very neat to see that very much like, you know, modernized and actually, you know, just kept it real. It was like a realistic storyline. So it was really cool.
So yeah, overall, really enjoyed it. We definitely went over time, and then Dad will have a very fun time editing it down.
46 minutes right now. So man, I had a really good time watching this movie. Bub and I went and saw it twice. We enjoy you guys, you know, hanging out with us. We're gonna go ahead and stop it right now, I think, right?
Yeah.
So we recommend you guys going out and checking it out if you have the time. So man, always remember, guys, keep your fingers crossed and your eyes peeled, and it's on to the next one. Peace. Popcorn. Oh my God. Popcorn and Fun Bucket.